I am continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a bit as I move along. We are continuing again with Zechariah. A lot of this is about Christ, either his first or second coming. This is back in chapter 7 is where we started. This is the apocalyptic prophecy. And this is all being stated in the 4th year of Darius. So now we turn to chapter 12. In the final great war, all nations shall be engaged at Jerusalem, but the Lord shall defend his people. Then the Jews shall look upon Jesus whom they crucified, and there shall be great mourning. The burden of the word of the Lord for Israel, saith the Lord, which stretcheth forth the heavens, and layeth the foundation of the earth, and formeth the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, when they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for the people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. In that day, saith the Lord, I will smite every horse with astonishment, and his rider with madness. And I will open mine eyes upon the house of Judah, and will smite every horse of the people with blindness. And the governors of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be my strength, and the Lord of hosts their God. So we are clearly talking about the battle of Armageddon here, when all nations come together to besiege the city of Jerusalem. We read a little bit about this in Ezekiel, when it says that God will destroy the army. It'll take 7 months to bury the dead and 7 years to burn the fuel. Here we're getting more details. The entire city will be, all the people around it, all nations will be gathered against Jerusalem. They will besiege it, but God will defend it. Find it interesting, he's going to smite the horses with blindness. Of course, not too many people use horses in armies now. It's basically saying he's going to shut down their war machines. Anyways, verse 6. In that day will I make the governors of Judah like an hearth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheaf. And they shall devour all the people round about on the right hand and on the left. And Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. The Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. In that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David. And the house of David shall be as God, as the angel of the Lord before them. I like that. He's going to strengthen the people so that the weakest among the Jews will be as strong as King David was. David, he was a great warrior. Remember that. David was a very powerful man. So the weakest among them is going to be like David. Verse 9. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplications. And they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. And they shall mourn for him, as one mourneth for his holy son, and shall be in bitterness for him, as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. In that day shall there be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as the mourning of Hadad-Rimmon in the valley of Megiddon. And the land shall mourn every family apart, and the family of the house of David apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Nathan apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Levi apart, and their wives apart, the family of Shimei apart, and their wives apart, all the families that remain, every family apart, and their wives apart. So this mourning, this is just kind of a standard practice of mourning in the Middle East, from what I understand, is that the men mourn over here as a family. The men of a family will mourn together, and the women of a family will mourn together. And then the other family will be in their house mourning in separate places. That's what it's talking about. But remember, they're mourning because they see Christ, and they see the wounds. He is the one that they pierced. This is a prophecy of the crucifixion. But not just the crucifixion, it's a prophecy of the Jews recognizing the crucifixion. Anyways, we're going to leave that here, and we'll pick it up in chapter 13. So we'll see you there.